Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on Amazon Simple Queue Service SQS. So Amazon Simple Queue Service 1. Amazon SQS is a fully managed service that eliminates the complexity and overhead associated with operating and scaling a message queuing infrastructure. 2. SQS allows you to decouple and scale microservices, distributed systems and serverless applications, ensuring reliable communication between components. 3. You can choose between standard queues which provide best effort ordering and at least once delivery, and FIFO queues which ensure the order of messages and exactly once processing. 4th, SQS keeps your data secure by encrypting messages in transit and at rest, allowing you to control access to your queues using AWS Identity and Access Management, AWS IAM. 5th, you can access SQS from anywhere using HTTP and HTTPS request and language specific AWS SDKs, making it easy to integrate with your applications. 6th, with SQS you only pay for what you use based on the number of requests made to the service, the data transfer out of the service and any optional features used. SQS automatically scales to handle any load, whether it's a few messages per minute or millions of messages per second, ensuring your application can handle traffic spikes. So this is a standard standard queue. It offers unlimited throughput. So standard queue supports nearly unlimited number of API calls per second per API action, and those action can be send message, receive message or delete message, and there is at least once delivery. A message is delivered at least once, but occasionally more than one copy of a message is delivered. So you can see there is a possibility that second message can be delivered twice to one or the more consumers. So you producers produce messages and send, and that gets into a queue. So we have to create a queue object, and for standard queue it's possible that delivery can happen once, more than once. And this offers best effort ordering. Occasionally messages are delivered in an order different from which they were sent. So it's possible that if you sent 1, 2, then 6th, 4th can come before, or 3rd can come later. So the sequence or the order is not guaranteed. And you can use standard queue first to send data between applications when throughput is more important. Like you want high throughput, like high messages or transactions to be processed or delivered by the consumers. And you can send more. Producers also can write at a very high throughput, and this is beneficial to decouple live user requests for intensive background work. So let users upload media while resizing or encoding it, for example. And some more examples can be like allocate tasks to multiple worker nodes. So these can be worker nodes. Processing a high number of credit card validation requests, for example, and batch messages for future processing. So you can schedule multiple entries to be added to a database through this example. Then we have a FIFO queue. Here, as you can see, the order as well as there is no duplication. So this is talking about throughput. So this also offers high throughput. So if you are using batching, FIFO queue supports up to 300 messages per second. So you have to, if you are using batching, and 300 messages per second per API method. So those API method can be it can be send message batch, receive message or delete message batch. So this is API is batch API, and 3000 messages per second represent 300 API calls, each with a batch of 10 messages. So every batch should be consist of 10 messages. You can request for a quota increase. You can submit a support request, and let's say, and without batch, FIFO queue supports up to 300 API calls per second. So if you are no batch, 300 API calls per second per API method, and those methods can be send message, receive message or delete message. This offers exactly once processing. A message is delivered once and remains available until a consumer processes it and deletes it. Duplicates are not introduced into the queue. First in, first out delivery. The order in which messages are sent and received is strictly preserved. You can use it to send data between applications when the order of event is important. For example, making sure the user, if entered commands are run in the right order, to display the correct product price by sending price and modifications in the right order, or preventing a student from enrolling in a course before registering for an account are some examples. So I'll just talk about all the features of SQS service. So first, message metadata, resources required to process messages, list queue pagination, cost allocation tags, short and long bowling, dead letter queues, visibility timeout, delay queues, temporary queues, message timers, accessing event bridge pipes, and managing large messages. So let's see all the features one by one. First is message metadata. Amazon SQS allows you to include up to 10 message attributes per message, which can contain structured metadata such as timestamps, geospatial data, signatures, and identifiers. Message attributes are optional and separate from the message body, but they are sent alongside it. All components of a message attributes are included in the 256 kilobyte message size restriction. Each attribute consists of a name, which can be up to 256 characters, a type, which can be string, number, or binary, and value. The name, type, and value and the message body must not be empty or null. The attribute name can contain A to Z uppercase, A to Z lowercase, 0 to 9, underscore, hyphen, and a period, but with certain restrictions. For example, no AWS dot or Amazon dot prefix, case sensitive, and it must be unique. Fifth, string, Unicode, number, 38-digit precision, and binary. So Amazon SQS supports the logical data types string, which can be Unicode text, number, which can be positive, negative, or up to 38 digits precision, and binary, which can be any binary data. Custom data types can be created by appending a label to any data. For example, number.int, binary.png. Amazon SQS does not interpret or validate these labels. And to calculate the MD5 digest for message attributes, you can sort attributes by name first, encode name, type, and value into a buffer, and compute the digest of the entire buffer. AWS SDKs for Java's message MD5 checksum handler class supports MD5 message digest for message attributes. Other SDKs or the query API require manual calculation. Okay, next feature is resources, estimating the resources for processing Amazon SQS messages. 1. Amazon SQS can determine the approximate number of messages in a queue that are available for immediate retrieval using the approximate number of messages visible attribute. The approximate number of messages delayed, there is one more attribute as approximate number of messages delayed. Attribute provides the count of messages that are delayed and not available for reading immediately. This can occur when the queue is configured as a delay queue. There is something called as a delay queue, which I will be covering in next few slides, or when a message is sent with a delay parameter. Third, messages are considered in flight if they have been sent to a client but have not yet been deleted or have not yet reached the end of their visibility window. The approximate number of messages not visible attribute returns this count. Fourth, to retrieve the approximate number of delayed, visible, and not visible messages in a queue. So there are three categories: delayed, visible, and not visible messages. Use the get queue attributes action with the appropriate attribute names. So these attribute names can be approximate number of messages visible, approximate number of messages delayed, and approximate number of messages not visible. Fifth, for standard queues, the result is approximate because of the distributed architecture of Amazon SQS. In most cases, the count should be close to the actual number of messages in the queue. Sixth, for FIFO, first in first out queues, the result of a get queue attributes action is exact, providing accurate counts of delayed, visible, and not visible messages. Okay, third feature, list queue pagination in Amazon SQS. Amazon SQS provides the list queues and list dead letter queues API methods to retrieve the list of queues and dead letter queues respectively. These methods support optional pagination controls. By default, list queues and list dead letter queues API methods return up to 1000 queues in the response message. This is the maximum number of messages that will be included in a single response if no pagination controls are set. You can use the max results parameter in the request to specify the maximum number of results to be returned in each response. Setting max results allows you to retrieve fewer than 1000 results per response, and enabling pagination of the queue result. Fourth, if you set max results and there are additional results to be displayed beyond the specified maximum, the response will include a next token value. Use the next token as a parameter in your next request to list queues or list dead letter queues to retrieve the next page of results. If there are no more results to display, the next token value in the response will be null. If you do not set the max results parameter in your request, the response will include a maximum of 1000 results and the next token value in the response will be null, indicating that there are no additional results to retrieve. Okay, fourth feature, Amazon SQS cost allocation tags. Cost allocation tags help you organize and identify your Amazon SQS queues for cost allocation purposes, especially when you have many queues to manage. Second, you can add metadata tags to your queues that identify a queue's purpose, owner, or environment, making it easier to categorize and track your queues. Amazon SQS console provides a user-friendly interface for configuring cost allocation tags for your queues. You can easily add, modify, or remove tags through the console. By signing up to include tag keys and values in your AWS account bill, you can organize your bill to reflect your own cost structure, aligning it with your tagged queues. Tags are composed of key value pairs that you define. The key represents the tag category, while the value represents the specific tag within that category. For instance, you can tag your production queues with queue type as the key and production as the value, and your testing queues with the queue type as the key and testing as the value, making it easy to differentiate between the two environments. Okay, fifth feature, Amazon SQS polling, short versus long polling. With short polling, the receive message request queries only a subset of the servers based on the weighted random distribution. So the receive message request queries only a subset of the servers to find messages that are available to include in the response. Amazon SQS sends the response right away, even if the query found no messages. If you have fewer than 1000 messages in your queue, a subsequent request will return your messages. Second, long polling. So with long polling, the receive message request queries all of the server for messages. Amazon SQS sends a response after it collects at least one available message, up to the maximum number of messages specified in the request. Amazon SQS sends an empty response only if the polling wait time expires. Short polling occurs when the wait time seconds, there is a parameter wait time seconds parameter of a receive message request is set to 0, either directly in the call or through the queue attribute receive message wait time seconds. Long polling is in effect when the wait time is greater than 0 with a maximum of 20 seconds. Okay, so some benefits of long polling in Amazon SQS. Long polling allows Amazon SQS to wait until a message is available in a queue before sending a response. Unless the connection times out, the response to the receive message request contains at least one of the available message, up to the maximum number of messages specified. This minimizes empty responses when no messages are available. Second, by querying all Amazon SQS servers rather than just a subset, long polling reduces false empty responses. This ensures that the messages are included in the response when they are available, even if they were not present on the initially queried servers. Third, by long polling enables Amazon SQS to return messages as soon as they become available in the queue. This minimizes the latency between the time a message is added to the queue and the time it is retrieved by a consumer. So by eliminating empty and false empty responses, long polling helps reduce the cost of using Amazon SQS. It minimizes the number of receive messages requests needed to retrieve messages, as each request is more likely to return one or more messages when they are available. Okay, sixth feature, Amazon SQS dead letter queues, DLQs. Dead letter queues, DLQs, are queues that other source queues can target for messages that cannot be processed or consumed successfully, allowing for isolation and debugging of problematic messages. DLQs are useful for debugging your application or messaging system because they let you isolate unconsumed messages to determine why their processing did not succeed. By sending messages that cannot be processed to a DLQ, you can isolate them from the main queue and investigate the reasons for processing failure, such as erroneous conditions or unexpected state changes in your application. Amazon SQS does not create the DLQ automatically. You must first create the queue before using it as a dead letter queue. Fifth, once you have debugged the consumer application or the consumer application is available to consume the message, you can use the dead letter queue redrive capability. So there is a redrive capability to move the messages back to the source queue. Sixth, multiple queues of the same type, standard or FIFO, can target a single dead letter queue, which allows for centralized handling of unconsumed messages from multiple sources. The DLQ and the source queues that send messages to it must be created using the same AWS account and reside in the same region to ensure proper functionality and security. Okay, next feature is Amazon SQS visibility timeout. So when a consumer receives and processes a message from a queue, the message remains in the queue. Amazon SQS does not automatically delete the message. Because Amazon SQS is a distributed system, there is no guarantee that the consumer actually receives the message, for example, due to connectivity or consumer application issues. So the consumer must delete the message from the queue after receiving it and processing it. Third, immediately after a message is received, Amazon SQS sets a visibility timeout, a period during which it prevents all consumers from receiving and processing the message. The default visibility timeout for a message is 30 seconds, the minimum is 0 seconds and the maximum is 12 hours. You can configure the visibility timeout for a queue using the Amazon SQS console. For standard queues, visibility timeout is not a guarantee. The visibility timeout isn't a guarantee against receiving a message twice, which is for at least once delivery. So there is no guarantee that a message has been received twice. So you cannot think that visibility timeout will make sure that it's not processed or consumed twice. FIFO queues allows the producer or consumer to attempt multiple retries using the same message deduplication ID or receive request attempt ID respectively, without affecting message ordering or introducing delays, as long as an acknowledgement is received before deduplication interval or visibility timeout expires. Okay, next feature. Okay, again continuing with FIFO queues. So I talked about message group ID and visibility. So when you receive a message with a message group ID from a FIFO queue, the visibility timeout behavior is slightly different. After receiving a message with specific message group ID, no more messages for the same message group ID are returned to the consumer. This behavior persists until the consumer deletes the received message from the queue. Alternatively, if the visibility timeout expires and the message becomes visible again without being deleted, subsequent messages with the same message group ID can be returned to the consumer. Okay, next feature, Amazon SQS delay queues. Delay queues allow you to postpone the delivery of new messages to consumer for a specified number of seconds, which can be useful when your consumer application needs additional time to process messages. When you create a delay queue, any messages sent to the queue remain invisible to the consumer consumers for the duration of the specified delay period. The default minimum delay for a queue is 0 seconds, meaning messages are immediately available for consumption. The maximum delay period for a queue is 15 minutes, 900 seconds. You can configure the delay period for a queue using the Amazon SQS console. For standard queues, changing the per queue delay setting does not affect the delay of messages already in the queue, and this is not, we call this not a retroactive behavior. But for FIFO queues, changing the per queue delay setting affects the delay of messages already in the queue, so it's retroactive. So let's say you have a queue, two queues, one is standard and one FIFO. After some time you set the delay queue, you make it delay queue and add that delay timeout, delay interval. So it will not affect the existing messages for standard queue, but for FIFO it will go ahead and affect all the messages which are already there in the queue. Okay, delay queues versus visibility timeout. Delay queues and visibility timeout are similar in that they both make changes unavailable, in that they both make messages, they both make messages unavailable to consumers for a specific period of time. For delay queues, a message is hidden from the consumer when it is first added to the queue, remaining invisible for the duration of the delay period. With visibility timeouts, a message becomes hidden from other consumers only after it is consumed from the queue by at least a consumer, remaining invisible for the duration of the visibility timeout. To set a delay on individual messages rather than an entire queue, you can use message timers, which will be a feature which I will talk in next few slides. And fifth, when using message timers, Amazon SQL will use the message timers delay seconds value instead of the delay queues delay seconds value for the specific message. Okay, next feature, Amazon SQS temporary queues. Temporary queues helps you save development time and deployment cost when using common message patterns such as request response. Temporary queues are particularly useful for implementing common messaging patterns like request response, where a requester creates a temporary queue for receiving each response message. You can use the temporary queue client to create high throughput, cost effective and application managed temporary queues. The temporary queue client automatically maps multiple temporary queues, which are application managed queues created on demand for a particular process on a single Amazon SQS queue. This mapping allows your application to make fewer API calls and have a high throughput when the traffic to each temporary queue is low. When a temporary queue is no longer in use, the temporary queue client automatically cleans up the temporary queue, even if some processes that use the client are not shut down cleanly. Creating and deleting temporary queues does not incur any additional cost, making them a cost-effective solution for dynamic messaging needs. So this is mostly we use for development purposes. So in this case, most likely the request and response is consumed by a single client, and you basically test some feature. So this will help you save development and deployment cost, because you are basically testing some feature and it's very high throughput and immediately available by the, let's say, by the same temporary queue client. So the client is only one, which is called temporary queue client, and it sends and receives, and you just test some behavior or some feature. Once you are done, you can delete it, or you can delete it, and even if some other client are still using it, or some process, you can it will still be you can still go ahead and delete and clean up all the resources. Okay, next feature. Okay, continuing from temporary queues, virtual queues and request response pattern. Virtual queues are local data structures that the temporary queue client creates to manage temporary queues efficiently. Virtual queues allow you to combine multiple low traffic destinations into a single Amazon SQS queue, optimizing resource usage and cost. Temporary queues serve as a lightweight communication channels for specific threads or processes in your application. The most common use case for temporary queues is the request response messaging pattern, where a requester creates a temporary queue for receiving each response message. In the request response pattern, the requester creates a temporary queue for each expected response message. Sixth, by using temporary queue client, you can avoid creating an Amazon SQS queue for each response message, as the client manages the mapping of temporary queues to a single Amazon SQS queue. The temporary queue client allows you to create and delete multiple temporary queues without making any Amazon SQS API calls, simplifying your application logic and reducing API overhead. Okay, 10th features, Amazon SQS message timers. Message timers allow you to specify an initial invisibility period for a message. So this is only for a single message. Invisibility period for a message added to a queue, hiding the message from consumers for a specified duration. When you send a message with a timer, the message is not available to consumers for the specified timer period after it is added to the queue. The default minimum delay for a message timer is 0 seconds, meaning the message is immediately visible to the consumers, and the maximum delay you can set for a message timer is 15 minutes 900 seconds. You can set a message timer when sending a message to a queue using Amazon SQS console or the send message API action. 6th, FIFO, first in first out queues do not support setting timers on individual messages, and message timers are only available for the standard queues. 7th, if you set a message timer for an individual message, it overrides any delay seconds value set on entire Amazon SQS delay queue. So delay seconds is an attribute at both at message level as well as queue level, at the delay queue level, and at message level takes precedence in case they are set at both the places. Okay, next, Amazon Event Bridge Pipes and Amazon SQS integration. 1. Amazon Event Bridge Pipes is a service that connects sources to targets, enabling data flow between different services and applications. Pipes are designed for point-to-point integrations between supported sources and targets, allowing for direct data transfer between them. Event Bridge Pipes support advanced transformation and enrichment of data as it moves from the source to the target, enabling data manipulation and enhancement. Event Bridge Pipes provides a highly scalable way to connect your Amazon SQS queue to other services, ensuring reliable and efficient data transfer. You can use Event Bridge Pipes to connect your Amazon SQS queue to various AWS services such as AWS Step Functions, other Amazon SQS queues, and Amazon API Gateway. Event Bridge Pipes also enable integration with third-party software as a service SaaS applications such as Salesforce, allowing seamless data flow between your queue and these external services. You can access and configure Amazon Data Bridge Pipes directly through Amazon SQS console, providing a convenient and centralized way to manage your queue integration. So basically, in this integration, Amazon SQS comes first, and that is attached to a Amazon Event Bridge Pipes, because Event Bridge Pipes has huge number of integrations. So Event Bridge Pipes can take these messages from queue, SQS queue, and it goes to our Event Bridge Pipe, and then this pipe sends it to a lot of other AWS services as well as third-party software as a service SaaS application. And what it helps, this pipe have the feature to do any kind of data enrichment, transformation, cleanup, all those things. So that is why this particular integration comes handy in a lot of scenarios where you have to not only take the data but or the message, but do some kind of transformation. And because it's a high throughput and it directly connects with the targets, this is a like a good beneficial solution for this kind of integration. Last 12th feature, managing large Amazon SQS messages. Amazon SQS extended client libraries are available for Java and Python, providing a convenient way to send and manage large messages in Amazon SQS. So the extended client libraries allows you to send and consume large message payloads ranging from 256 kilobyte up to 2 gigabyte 2 GB, which is significantly larger than the default message limit, which is around 256 KB. When using the extended client libraries, the large message payload is automatically saved to Amazon Simple Storage Service, S3, Amazon Simple Storage Service S3 bucket, and instead of being stored directly in the Amazon SQS queue or the backend SQS servers. So it bypasses that, and it will just keep an ID or something in the SQS queue, and it will know which bucket it has saved the actual messages, which is more than 256 KB and up to 2 GB. Fourth, after saving the message payload to Amazon S3, extended client libraries send a reference, which is a pointer, to the stored S3 object in the Amazon SQS queue, allowing consumers to retrieve the large payload from S3 when needed. Amazon SQS extended client libraries are compatible with both standard as well as FIFO, first in first out queues, providing flexibility in choosing the appropriate queue type for your application's requirements. The extended client libraries are particularly useful when you need to consume large messages payload, as they enable efficient handling of messages larger than the default size. And by leveraging extended client libraries, you achieve seamless integration between Amazon SQS and Amazon S3, which allows you to store and retrieve large messages. Okay, and that's all. Thanks for watching.